A compelling detective story, a cloak and dagger action, and a romantic drama, all these stories were taken from real life. The history of Kazakhstan is inseparable from the world history. Reflections on History, our version.
Clear words in troubled times. The wealth and luxury of Indian gardens. The architectural composition of the palaces might necessarily correspond to the color scheme of flower beds, to the grandeur of avenues and canals. Delhi, the green legacy of the great Mughals, as the English called them. Babur had a barber, and he was very fond of him. He trusted him completely. Obviously, every morning he put his neck under a dangerous razor, so his barber was a clever man, and Babur listened to his advice. At least, that's what people said.
И Бабур прислушивался к его советам.
It's believed that he ordered the building of the mausoleum with the blue dome of the Nile Gumbad for his barber. And not far from this place, the tomb of Babur himself. But this is just a place of worship. The memory of it will never fade. He sought to unravel the secrets he faced, but he himself remained a mystery to history. The king of the dervishes is the king of gardeners. The Kingchronicler, Zahirad-din Muhammad Babur. Clear words in troubled times. He conquered India and created a dynasty of great Mughals. They came here from today's south and southeast of Kazakhstan and the Fergana Valley, and from this side, Kashgar. The art of winning was perfected by him throughout his life. Chapter 1. Grief, Shame, and a Royal Crown. Fergana is an area surrounded by 5 climates. To the east of it, Kashgar; to the west, Samarkand; to the south, the mountains of Badakhshan. In the north, before, there were cities like Al-Mulk, Almaty, and Yangi, whose names are written as Otrar, but now, because of the invasion of the Mughals and Uzbeks, they were destroyed, and there were absolutely no populated places left. From the writings of Babur.A. Delhi, a garden. Charbagh, in translation from the Turkic, means hedge. In Persian interpretation, or 4 squares. But there are more of them. They're separated by water canals, a complex irrigation system, and a magnificent park. Sultan Babur, who conquered India, Afghanistan, was always surrounded by scientists. And wherever was Babur, everywhere he tried to surround himself with trees, flowers, and canals. It reminded him of his native land, which he missed so much, but where he was not destined to return. You're in a foreign land, and of course, you are forgotten. A human being only pities himself with a whole heart. In my wanderings, I did not know joy from an hour. A man is always grieving for his dear homeland. From the writings of Babur. My dear homeland is Andijan. The capital of one of the regions of Maranar is Fergana. It included the lands of southern Kazakhstan. He was born in 1483, and with the light hand of his grandfather Yunus Khan, the ruler of western Mongolistan, received the nickname of a tiger cub, Babur. Yunus Khan's mother was the daughter or granddaughter of a Kipchak Bek from Turkestan named Sheikh Nuruddin, whom Timur favored, from the writings of Babur.
Babur often is connected to the neighboring country Uzbekistan, but we cannot think of the borders like we do today. Back in 14th century, they were one people of the Turkic heritage, and so.
On one hand, he was a Timurid, and on the other, he was a Chingizid, because his father, Omar Sheikh, was the same. He was the great-grandson of Timur. Babur became ruler when he was only 12. It happened after the accidental death of his father. The dovecot fell from a rock, together with Omar Sheikh, who thus made a flight to the other world. So writes the future ruler of India. He, of course, had a very rich, interesting life, but life taught him above all the lessons of survival. The inheritance he received from his father caused a quarrel with powerful relatives, and he was not just defending himself. He decided to become the ruler of all Mavaranar. After the death of her husband, Babur's mother gave a vow of silence. Her 11-year-old child was forced to rely on the advice of the Bets and make his own decisions. However, he had a grandmother, it seems, that she saved him. It's hard to find a more clever and judicious woman among so many women. Like my grandmother, Ihsan Daulat Bekim, according to Babur. Treachery and betrayal, the first thing that teenager had to face. A fearless warrior, he did not give up. And he won many battles, although he often said that he was ready to go to the mountains barefoot to become a simple dervish. Chapter 2. I put my foot into the stirrups of determination. Uranus is of two kinds. One is special for each tribe, another for the whole army. In combat, two words are assigned during battle and in a meeting. One person speaks one word and the second person says the second to distinguish friends from enemies. During campaigns, one will say Sairam, the answer Tashkent from Babur. The former empire of Timur and Genghis Khan was ruled by their descendants, and relations did not interfere with the fierce fighting. This was an endless war which lasted almost 20 years at the end of the 15th century and led to the fact that the Timurids invited various mercenaries to serve in their midst. And among them, the mercenaries, was Muhammad Shaybuni, an Uzbek Khan who'd been defeated by Kazakhs. He fled from Central Asia from the Kazakh steppes. Shaybani, an impostor according to Babur, seized power in Mavranad, once the empire of Timur. The impudent teenage prince went to Samarkand. The Khan, who was almost 50, gathered his forces in Turkestan. When the winter houses were ready, we entered the fortress. On the same morning, Shaybani Khan, who came from Turkestan at a rapid pace, stopped over at our camp from Babur. Muhammad Shaybani actually played a key role in the defeat of the Timurids. He won the Timurid heritage in Central Asia. Babur led his ancestry from his maternal side from the second son of Genghis Khan, Chagatai, but his main enemy was Khan Muhammad Shaybani, a descendant of Juji. Shaybanids are the same Jushids, the Kazakh Khanate, also known as Wered Jushids. It's easy to get confused in these complex family relationships. Mahmud Haydar Dulati is a famous historian, a cousin of Babur. The Kazakh Khan Kazim, who ruled at the same time, was also a relative of Babur and the cousin of Shaybani Khan. And he also feuded with him, thus appearing on the same side of the barricades with Babur. And of course, the genus of Dulati, it was the main, probably the biggest part of the Turkic section of the Mongols. Everyone in the struggle respected their interests, so after the expulsion of the Prince Dervish and the death of Shaybani Khan, Sairam, who once belonged to the tribe of Babur's father, became part of the tribe of Kazim Khan. They say that not one of the Kazakh Khans and sultans held this nation in such obedience as Kazim Khan did. In his army, there were about 300,000 people from Babur. 20 years of struggle. Babur tried to conquer Samarkand. He succeeded 3 times, but still he had to retreat. And his beautiful sister, to save his brother, became another wife of Shaybani Khan. Babur was finally defeated in 1512. He went to Afghanistan. For some time he ruled in Kabul. He declared himself as a Padishah. And then India. Rajputs, which means the son of a Raja or king, dissatisfied with the ruler of the Delhi Sultanate, called Babur to overthrow the Sultan. But he had his own plans for India. Very soon, the Rajputs invited Babur to India, but very soon they realized that this belligerent Turk himself wanted to establish himself on the Delhi throne, and then they opposed him. Babur won. They tried to poison him, but he survived. He dealt ruthlessly with the conspirators. He described all the unseemly and bloody details of his book. I went there. I cut off 100 heads and brought back 100 heads. During that time, it was absolutely normal, the way the ruler showed his authority. He was ruthless to himself and to others, a rare quality of the chronicler. From this advice to his sons, he gave, "Write more simply in clear words, it is less for you, and work on when we read your book." Chapter 3. In the steppes of a foreign land, the roads are tangled. The sky collects a continuous tribute of wandering. However, it will not be able to heal old heartaches. I would like to understand what God is up to, suffering for me or myself for suffering. From Babur. Having conquered India, the Padishah changed the capital and settled in Agra. The emperor, whose name was Babur, he came to India in 1526 in Agra and built a small park. It was just opposite the Taj Mahal. Over time, the park grew and changed the climate. Dust storms stopped, the temperature became more moderate. By the way, according to the ideas of Babur, the whole of India had to turn into a garden. According to the memories of his daughter, the Padishah wrote his notes in the garden. And yet, the history of the books is mysterious. What materials did he use and who helped him? According to Dulati, Babur did not have a chronicler at the court. It seems that he kept a diary all his life. The notes show a very good turn of phrase, and in fact, if he himself wrote it, it shows that he was really an outstanding person. The river Saihan, Darya, comes to Fergana from the northeastern side. It flows to the west, then again dodges to the north and flows towards Turkestan. This river doesn't merge with any other river. The waters are all absorbed into the sands and disappear. From Babur. He could write in several languages, but he preferred Turkic, the Chagatai language. It's named after the name of the son of Genghis Khan. Timurids have always supported poets. Such a scientific tradition, there are a lot of records and literature left over. The Babur-Nam is not only the work that by Patish. Poet, geographer, historian and ethnographer, he wrote about scientific treatises. He created the alphabet on the basis of ancient Turkic, samples of which were found around Signap and Kizilloda, and his rich poetic heritage is a separate topic. This was generally an era of high-ranking poets and scientists who, in the intervals between battles and political intrigues, wrote eternal creations. Who could not write himself hired chroniclers. One of the principles of Eastern rule, Timur brought it to perfection, supported the people who write, and they will write only good things about you. These are memoirs of the commander and politician, written by a poet and connoisseur of beauty, from Babur-Nam. Written sources which clearly confirm the powerful struggle between the Timurids and the Shaybanids, about the fierce hatred that existed between them. About the battles, enemies, friends, brief characteristics thanks to which the names he mentioned remained in history forever, and a considerable part of mentioned people were relatives of the Padishah. For example, an episode from the life of Babur's aunt, his mother's sister. Sultan Nigar Khanum was married to one of the Kazakh sultans, Adik, a descendant of Juzchi, the eldest son of Genghis Khan. After the death of Adik, she remarried the Khan of the Kazakh Ulus, Kazim. From the Babur-Nam. Epilogue. My face was covered with the dust of exile. Most of his life was spent in exile and wandering. Even after the death, he didn't find peace. Babur died in 1530. His son, Humayun, took the throne. A mystical story told by Gulbadan Begim, the daughter of Babur, the only woman historian in medieval India, was when his heir, Humayun, became ill. Doctors urged to prepare for the worst. I will pray, Babur said. The advisors offered to sacrifice the greatest diamond, the Koh-i-Noor, which Babur had just given to Humayun. But the Padishah replied, I will not offer a stone to Almighty God. His Majesty walked around Humayun, reading a prayer. Lord, if you can give one life in exchange for another, I, Babur, will give my life and all of myself for my son, Humayun. Amen. Humayun recovered, and Babur died after some time at the age of 47. According to the less romantic version, he died from dysentery. Afraid of unrest, his death was hidden from the people. It was announced that the Padishah had retired from his labors and had chosen the dervish's fate. Babur was secretly buried in the garden of Agra, and for several years the tomb was opposite, where the Taj Mahal was later erected. And then the ashes of the dervish king were transported to Kabul, the dynasty of the great Mughals, whose representatives never called themselves so, reigned in India until the 20th century. There is no homeland and thus no happiness, and I have nothing but pain. I came to this region with my will, and now I have no willpower to leave it. From Babur.